Well, good morning once again from Camp Toccoa. It's about 7:30 on Sunday morning, and those of us who remain, I think there's 7 of us that are still here, are just getting packed up and ready to go. Sun's shining. It's a little chilly. It was kind of a cold night last night, but we're going to say our goodbyes here, and I'm going to be hitting the road, headed towards southern Georgia. All right, well, we're heading out. We're saying goodbye to Toccoa for now. I'm sure I'll be back because I want to see how progress is being made. But a couple of things in closing from this part of my adventure. Number one, a big thank you to JD from the History Underground. You guys have heard me talk about his channel before, and it's been great getting to know him this weekend. We have a lot in common, he and I. Not only our love of history, but a lot of other things as well. But definitely check out his channel. I'll put a link in the description below, because if you guys like my history site videos, you will absolutely love his channel. He's got a lot of great stuff. The other thing is that while they get a lot of the manpower and material donated to rebuilding Camp Toccoa, there's a lot that they can't do for free or get donated, and so they need money. And there is a link. They're eventually going to set up a GoFundMe, but for now there's a link in the description here. It'll take you to their website that they're just getting up and running, and they have there a link to PayPal where you can make donations to Camp Toccoa, to rebuilding this incredible part of not only American history but world history. So please consider donating. I'm going to be doing that today once I get into my hotel, and I hope you'll do the same. All right, now it's on to Gainesville, Georgia, where we're going to visit the grave of General James Longstreet. I am in Alta Vista Cemetery in Gainesville, Georgia. It's on the road between Toccoa and Atlanta. I'm making my way toward Andersonville. And this is the final resting place of a number of Confederate officers, most notably the final resting place of James Longstreet, who we're going to be visiting in just a moment. But I saw this grave and I thought it was worth taking a few moments to talk about it. This is David Terrell Harris. He was a second lieutenant in the 21st Georgia, as you can see on his grave. And it says he was part of the Immortal 600. Now, the Immortal 600 is not a very well-known story from the Civil War, but basically the Immortal 600, to sum it up as quickly as I can, would just be to say that they were used as retaliation for a few things that were happening in the Confederacy as far as the treatment of Union prisoners go. One of those was that the Confederacy had issued a proclamation that black soldiers that were captured in federal uniform would be executed, as would white officers in charge of black soldiers. And so new Commander-in-Chief of the Union Army, Ulysses S. Grant, put a stop to prisoner exchanges until white and black soldiers were treated equally by the Confederacy. Another thing that was happening was that the Confederates in Charleston, as the town was being shelled, they took Union prisoners and brought them into the town of Charleston, basically as human shields. And in response to that, a group of Confederate soldiers were brought to Morris Island to be used as human shields. And so there's this kind of retaliation thing going on. Eventually there were 600 of them, and they were put on very minimal rations, and that was in retaliation for what they were hearing was going on in Andersonville, where we're headed later today. So all of that is to say that these men have become known as the Immortal 600 because the vast majority of them did survive all of that. Some of them did die from disease, from starvation, things of that nature. But I just thought that was interesting, and that's not a story we've ever really talked about, the Immortal 600. It's interesting that see when you make your way to James Longstreet's grave is the flagpole with an American flag. Interesting, of course, when you think about the fact that this was one of the leading generals in the Confederate Army. But Longstreet, unlike many of the Confederates after the war, actually became a loyal Union man again, which did not make him particularly popular here in the South. He became a Republican, which was the party of the Union. It was the party of Grant, the party of Lincoln, and that alienated a lot of people in the South. He also spoke in defense of his own actions during the war, which also put him at odds with people who supported people like Robert E. Lee. But Longstreet goes on to serve the United States once again. He serves as Grant's minister to Turkey, among other things. He lived until 1904, which was pretty late for some of the senior officers to have lived. He had a wife who lived until the 1960s. Of course, she was born in the 1860s. She was much younger than him. A lot of people don't know that Longstreet had 3 children who died during the Civil War, not from the war itself, but from various illnesses. And he had a son that served with him, who was a teenager, who actually served as a courier for General Longstreet. And I believe that he may be buried here as well. And several of General Longstreet's children went on to go to West Point and became officers in the American Army after the war. I think at least 2 of his sons are buried at Arlington National Cemetery. Some of his family are buried here as well, but let's go ahead and take a look. This is the general's first wife. I believe this was his son who served as a courier with him. So I'm not actually planning to visit the Andersonville prison site today. I'm going to go another 10 miles past here and get to my hotel, and then we're going to come to Andersonville first thing in the morning, which is Memorial Day. But I do want to, since I just drove past it, I do want to at least just drive by real quick and check it out briefly. So let's take a look. There it is. Wow, this is a place I've wanted to visit for a long time. Well, like I said, I'm not planning on touring the site today, but I was already here and I wanted to at least come. I can already tell it's going to be really intense. Looks like there's a lot to see here. I'm really looking forward to spending a lot of time It's the only thing I have planned for tomorrow. I want to really spend time and do this place justice and really tell the story. We're going to do that by telling the story of my great uncle. His name was Henderson Gearhart. He died here. And we'll tell that story tomorrow. I'm going to come down. Well, I'm wrapping up day 4 here in Georgia and Tennessee. It's been another incredible day. A slower day for me, which I think I kind of needed. Mostly a travel day. I had to drive 4 hours to get from Toccoa down here to Americus, which is where I'm staying. It's the nearest town that has a hotel near Andersonville. And so I've spent the evening, ordered a pizza. Didn't want to have to go out anywhere. I'm still pretty sore from curry yesterday. Spent the evening getting some editing done, and I'm uploading the video from day 1 today. And then tomorrow is our last day. We're flying home tomorrow night. Tomorrow morning, I get to meet up with a few more viewers. They're going to be meeting me to visit the Andersonville prison site. So that should be fun. I hope you have enjoyed this so far. We've got one more day for you.